Hello everyone, and welcome to the first car of GT7 Custom Project Set 1, the Bugatti Chiron Hermès Edition. This is a one-off collaboration between Bugatti and the Hermès fashion company, and was commissioned by a man named Manny Koshbin, who works in real estate and must make a lot of money to be able to afford a custom-built Bugatti Chiron. This car is meant to be more so a fashion statement rather than a massively tuned race car. It's mostly about the visuals here, and a lot of the custom work on the real car happens on the interior, which we can't edit in GT7. But we can edit the outside of the car through custom liveries. And we have this very nice livery for the car, which I've left a link to in the description so you can download it and use it yourselves. I did not make the livery for this car, so show the creator some love by downloading it, liking it, etc. So, let's head to the tuning shop and I'll show you the parts I used to make this car build. So, like I said, this car is supposed to be an even more luxurious version of an already luxury hypercar, not a majorly tuned super sport equivalent. So the tuning isn't too extensive here, it's more subtle. So to begin, in the sports section, we have weight reduction stage 1. In club sports, we have the power restrictor, but it's not fitted. And we will need the ballast. In the semi-racing section, I have the fully customizable LSD and the fully customizable manual transmission. In racing, I have the racing intercooler. I have the racing brake pads, the racing brake discs, the drilled discs, not the slotted ones. It doesn't matter for performance, but it's a visual thing that I will explain later. The fully customizable suspension you'll also want. And I have the racing transmission, but it's not being used. So that's it. Don't need anything from the extreme section. Again, I have the carbon brakes, but I'm not using them in this build. So, once you've bought all the car's parts and applied the livery at GT Auto, we can head back to the garage and tune the car. So, coming into car settings, we can see our setting sheet here. So, for the tires, we have left them on Sports Hard. For the suspension, we have 120mm on the front and 110mm on the rear for body height. For anti-roll, we have 5 front and back. For the dampening ratio on compression, we have 36 front and rear with 45 front and rear on expansion. For natural frequency, it is 2.00 for both front and rear. For negative camber angle, we have 2.0 front and rear again. And the toe angle, we have 0.1 toe out on the front and 0.2 toe in on the rear. For differential settings, I have chose to set it to 30 for all three on the front and 10 for all three on the rear. That's initial torque, acceleration sensitivity, and braking sensitivity. For the torque vectoring center differential, I've put a 50-50 split on the power so that it feels more stable. I genuinely feel like four-wheel drive cars are much more stable when you have a 50-50 split on them. So, into the next section, the downforce is unadjusted, as is the ECU. For ballast, we have 182 kilos fitted, and I have put that all the way to the front to get closer to a 50-50 weight distribution, also for stability. For transmission, I have put it on an automatic setting of 420 kilometers an hour. That's the real world quoted speed of this car. So in the next section, we have the racing intercooler fitted. We have the racing drill disc fitted. So I've gone for the drill discs because the regular car uses the standard Bugatti brakes, but they have custom made red calipers. So I decided to put the drill discs on because they look similar to the standard brakes, but you can change the color of the calipers to red. So if you want the car to look as close to the real car as possible, fit the drill discs. Otherwise, you can fit whichever brakes you want. It doesn't really matter because they all perform the exact same. But I also have the racing brake pads equipped, and I feel like racing brakes are almost a necessity on the Chiron because it's basically a very good looking Meteor, in my opinion. It goes incredibly fast, and you need as much stopping power as you can get with this car because it's big, it's heavy, and it's very, very fast. So I recommend racing brakes on any Chiron that you make for just so you can definitely stop the car before you crash into a wall. And the last thing we have fitted is the stage 1 rate reduction. So now that we've covered all the tuning settings, all it's left to do now is head out to the Le Mans track and see how the car performs. So, like I said, this isn't supposed to be a super sport competitor. It's meant to be a luxury fashion statement on a luxury hypercar. Having said that, of course, the Chiron is a ludicrously fast car by default anyway, and this build is no exception to that rule. I think adding the racing brakes really goes a long way to help the Chiron in any form be a better car for racing, as it's incredibly fast, sure, but it's very heavy and it really feels like it sometimes. Though I think the weight distribution and the 50-50 power split help it a lot through corners. So this car controls about as well as you'd expect from a Chiron. Fantastic, unrivaled straight line performance from a road car, and it's pretty heavy through corners. So I do love the brand, of course, Bugatti, my favourite car manufacturer of all time. So I thought this would be a unique way to show off a lesser known special variant of the Chiron. So that's it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to stay tuned tomorrow for the second car of the set. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.